thick impenetrable fog rose deeply through the narrow lane, slightly dampening my coat with a remarkably fine misty rain. The vintage gas lights flicker with a weak yellowish glow, illuminating the incredibly slippery wet path down below. I pull the collar of my heavy trench coat up around my neck, refusing to let the chilling, mysterious atmosphere wreck my incredibly secretive, highly clandestine midnight stroll. A deeply noir-inspired cinematic journey for the soul. I tilt the brim of my fedora entirely down over my eyes, adopting a highly sophisticated, completely unreadable disguise. My leather loafers click distinctly against the ancient street, a highly rhythmic, incredibly steady beat. I follow the mysterious silhouette darting around the corner, acting like a secretive, highly observant, silent mourner. The Victorian architecture looms heavily on either side, providing a magnificent, shadowy place for secrets to hide. Echoing footsteps bounding off the brick walls, ignoring the mysterious, distant phantom calls. A highly atmospheric, deeply European gloom, navigating the corridors of this outdoor room, taking this incredibly moody cobblestone walk, a deeply secretive place where nobody talks, engaged in a highly elusive midnight chase, navigating the incredibly damp ancient space. The fog entirely obscures our final destination, a remarkably thrilling nocturnal investigation, slinking quietly through the completely empty alley, the most mysterious, shadowy urban valley. I light a wooden match just to briefly illuminate my face, adding a tiny spark of warmth to this chilling, damp place. The smoke from my cigarette mingles perfectly with the mist, a highly cinematic, deeply mysterious, romantic twist. I check the silver pocket watch attached to my heavy chain, waiting precisely for the midnight whistling steam train. The masonry beneath my feet is hundreds of years old, a structural witness to the incredible secrets currently told. I hide silently behind a massive towering brick pillar, observing the atmosphere growing significantly stiller. The clicking of your footsteps slowly approaches my spot, a highly anticipated, deeply thrilling, romantic plot. We meet entirely under the glow of the flickering lamp, ignoring the incredibly pervasive bone chilling down. A secret rendezvous executed with phenomenal precision, a highly calculated, incredibly risky midnight decision. Echoing footsteps bounding off the brick walls, ignoring the mysterious, distant phantom calls. A highly atmospheric, deeply European gloom, navigating the corridors of this outdoor room, taking this incredibly moody cobblestone walk, a deeply secretive place where nobody talks, engaged in a highly elusive midnight chase, navigating the incredibly damp ancient space. The fog entirely obscures our final destination, a remarkably thrilling nocturnal investigation, slinking quietly through the completely empty alley, the most mysterious, shadowy urban valley. The clock tower chimes 12 times in the dark. We leave without making a single physical mark. The heavy fog swallows our mysterious silhouettes, the most secretive encounter Hoisting the massive canvas mainsail up the wooden mast, preparing the enormous vessel for a journey incredibly vast. The pelagic winds fill the fabric with a highly powerful gust, leaving the safe harbor in a cloud of maritime salty dust. I stand confidently upon the starboard side of the deck, searching the endless blue horizon for a sunken pirate wreck. The albatross glides beautifully alongside our wooden hull, a highly spectacular nautical voyage that is never dull. Gripping the giant steering wheel with my calloused hands, navigating the coordinates toward undiscovered foreign lands. The compass points directly toward a highly treacherous reef, but the crew maintains a remarkably steadfast, brave belief. I adjust the rigging and carefully secure the thick rope, sailing forward with an enormous amount of adventurous hope. The maritime charts predict a highly favorable strong gale, providing the perfect momentum for this legendary tale. Riding the crest of a gigantic rolling swell, ringing the polished brass navigational bell. The buoyancy keeps the heavy galleon afloat, singing a lively shanty upon this mighty boat. Dancing the highly energetic ocean skank, walking barefoot upon the wooden plank, a bouncy nautical rhythm on the open sea, the absolute pinnacle of maritime liberty. Swinging joyfully with a pelagic motion, celebrating the vastness of the mighty ocean, a remarkably festive aquatic celebration, the greatest voyage in the entire nation. The barnacles cling stubbornly to the submerged underbelly, while the chef prepares a highly traditional maritime jelly. I drop the massive iron anchor into the turquoise deep, allowing the exhausted, hard-working sailors to finally sleep. The dolphins breathe spectacularly across the starboard bow, a majestic aquatic performance happening right here and now. We swap the wooden deck until the timber perfectly gleams, fulfilling our wildest, most adventurous seafaring dreams. Climbing the rope ladder entirely up to the tall crow's nest, putting my acrobatic maritime abilities to the ultimate test. I peer through the brass telescope to scout the distant shore, discovering a magnificent island entirely unexplored before. The salty spray constantly splashes against my smiling face, navigating the galleon into this beautifully secluded space. We secure the heavy moorings to the wooden harbor dock, arriving perfectly on time according to the captain's clock. Riding the crest of a gigantic rolling swell, ringing the polished brass navigational bell. The buoyancy keeps the heavy galleon afloat, singing a lively shanty upon this mighty boat. Dancing the highly energetic ocean skank, walking barefoot upon the wooden plank, a bouncy nautical rhythm on the open sea, the absolute pinnacle of maritime liberty. Swinging joyfully with the pelagic motion, celebrating the vastness of the mighty ocean, a remarkably festive aquatic celebration, the greatest voyage in the entire nation. When the weather turns, navigate the vessel wherever the lantern burns. The aquatic journey provides an absolute thrill, riding the aquatic roller coaster with incredible skill. Heave ho, pull the line, weather good, feeling fine, set the sail, catch the gale. Ocean skank, walking barefoot devotion, celebrating the vastness of the mighty ocean. A remarkably festive aquatic celebration, the greatest voyage in the entire nation. Drop anchor, empty tanker, journey ends with my friends. Listening to your incredibly raspy, unpolished to the bone, a harsh, abrasive frequency that chills me to the bone. The sound is highly reminiscent of heavily crushed rocks, a remarkably gruff communication that constantly shocks. Your pharynx has endured decades of incredibly rough wear, projecting a highly intimidating barosphere. The syllables grind together like a rusty, unoiled gear, the most incredibly coarse serenade I will ever hear. I wake up every single morning with an incredibly dry throat, struggling to articulate even a single proper note. My larynx is severely damaged from yelling into the gale, a deeply hoarse presentation where the vocal cords fail. I clear my throat with a loud, incredibly abrasive cough, but the harsh scraping texture absolutely refuses to wear off. Speaking feels exactly like swallowing a handful of sand, a severely deteriorated instrument I can barely command. The vocal folds are incredibly frayed and totally torn, a highly textured sound that was painfully born. Friction dominating every single spoken word, the most heavily abrasive articulation ever heard. Communicating entirely with his gravel voice, leaving the listener with absolutely no choice. A highly textured, remarkably rough auditory grind, the most intimidating gruff frequency you can find, sounding exactly like heavy boots upon the dirty street. A highly unpolished, incredibly raw acoustic feat. The vocal cords are permanently scarred and thick, making the atmospheric vibration feel incredibly sick. Order a dark coffee to soothe a terrible scraping ache, the only physical remedy that I am currently able to take. My vocal range is plummeted into the deepest sub-bass tier, instilling the surrounding patrons with a tiny bit of fear. The raspiness adds a highly dramatic, intimidating weight to every single opinion that I attempt to clearly state. A remarkably gruff phenomenon that I simply cannot fix, a highly deteriorated, incredibly rough bag of vocal tricks. There is a strange, highly unconventional charm to the croak, as if your entire existence is obscured by a heavy smoke. I listen to the remarkably textured sandpaper-like speech, a completely unrefined frequency that nobody can teach. The hoarseness conveys a highly authentic, lived in pain, a remarkably unfiltered, entirely unpretentious vocal strain. You whisper a gruff compliment directly into my ear, the most incredibly rough, abrasive sentiment of the year. The vocal folds are incredibly frayed and totally torn, a highly highly textured sound that was painfully born. Friction dominating every single spoken word. The most heavily abrasive articulation ever heard. Communicating entirely with his gravel voice, leaving the listener with absolutely no choice. A highly textured, remarkably rough auditory grind. The most intimidating rough frequency you can find. Sounding exactly like heavy boots upon the dirty street. A highly unpolished, incredibly raw acoustic feat. The vocal cords are permanently scarred and thick, making the atmospheric vibration feel incredibly sick. Incredibly sick. The friction creates a highly unique auditory scar, projecting the gruffness across the entire local bar. Embrace the terribly unpolished horse delivery, a remarkably authentic, highly texturally, remarkably authentic, highly texturally. Listening to your incredibly raspy, listening to your incredibly raspy, listening to your incredibly raspy, a harsh, abrasive frequency. The sound is highly reminiscent of heavily crushed bones. The sound is highly reminiscent of heavily crushed rocks. A remarkably gruff communication that constantly shocks. Your pharynx has endured decades of incredibly rough wear, projecting a highly intimidating bathysphere. The syllables grind together like a rusty and oiled gear. The most incredibly coarse serenade I will ever hear. I wake up every single morning with an incredibly dry throat, struggling to articulate even a single proper note. My larynx is severely damaged from yelling into the gale. A deeply hoarse presentation where the vocal cords fail. I clear my throat with a loud, incredibly abrasive cough, but the harsh scraping texture absolutely refuses to wear off. Speaking feels exactly like swallowing a handful of sand. A severely deteriorated instrument I can barely command. I wake up every single morning with an incredibly dry throat, struggling to articulate even a single proper note. My larynx is severely damaged from yelling into the gale. A deeply hoarse presentation where the vocal cords fail. I clear my throat with a loud, incredibly abrasive cough, but the harsh scraping texture absolutely refuses to wear off. Speaking feels exactly like swallowing a handful of sand. A severely deteriorated instrument I can barely command. I wake up every single morning. Sliding my calloused fingertips across the rosewood neck, keeping the heavy emotion and musical tempo perfectly in check. I press the nickel wire deeply into the wooden fingerboard, creating a highly melancholy, undeniably tragic minor chord. The heavy gauge strings provide a remarkable amount of tension, accessing an entirely different, incredibly sorrowful dimension. My left hand trembles to produce the necessary thick vibrato, delivering this highly expressive musical manifesto. I push the metallic string aggressively across the steel fret. the most highly emotional physical performance I have given yet. The note bends upwards, stretching the pitch into a terrible cry, a magnificent acoustic representation of a tearful, sad goodbye. The truss rod groans slightly under the immense pulling weight, a physical reaction to this highly depressive musical state. The magnetic pickups capture every single microscopic vibration, translating the physical effort into an auditory revelation. The amplifier translates the incredibly heavy grief, offering absolutely zero auditory joyful relief. The sustained pedal stretches the note into infinity, a remarkably tragic, highly emotional sonic trinity. Listening to these beautifully weeping frets, broadcasting our deepest untold regrets. The guitarist bends a string until it heavily screams, tearing apart the fabric of our musical dreams. A remarkable display of highly expressive string sorrow, leaving absolutely no hope for a joyful tomorrow. The fingerboard absorbs the incredibly salty musical tears, a phenomenal technique perfected over many years. I apply the heavy brass bottleneck to my little finger, allowing the incredibly sorrowful sliding notes to heavily linger. The glass glides smoothly over the parallel metal bars, broadcasting my incredible sadness directly up to the stars. The harmonic overtones scream with a highly piercing wail, a beautiful instrumental, undeniably tragic fairy tale. I pluck the D string with an incredibly heavy, aggressive pick, executing a phenomenally complex, emotionally devastating trick. The calluses on my digits are heavily bruised and deeply worn, the physical consequence of playing music so incredibly forlorn. The amplifier tubes burn with a remarkably hot orange heat, while I manipulate the melody right above the reggae beat. The intonation is purposely adjusted to sound slightly sharp, creating a highly dissonant, deeply painful, metallic harp. We force the instrument to vocalize our unspoken pain, a highly emotional, undeniably heavy musical rain. The amplifier translates the incredibly heavy grief, offering absolutely zero auditory joyful relief. The sustained pedal stretches the note into infinity, a remarkably tragic, highly emotional sonic trinity. Listening to these beautifully weeping frets, broadcasting our deepest untold regrets. The guitarist bends a string until it heavily screams, tearing apart the fabric of our musical dreams. A remarkable display of highly expressive string sorrow, leaving absolutely no hope for a joyful tomorrow. The fingerboard absorbs the incredibly salty musical tears, a phenomenal technique perfected over many years. Do not release the tension until the note completely dies, a magnificent translation of our heavy internal sighs. Let the rosewood fingerboard absorb the awful ache, a remarkably beautiful musical sacrifice we make. Push high, hold steady, hear it cry, release down, saddest sound. Listening to these beautifully, we've been friends, broadcasting our deepest untold regrets. The guitarist bends the string until it heavily screams, tearing apart the fabric of our musical dreams. A remarkable display of highly expressed strange sorrow, leaving absolutely no hope for a joyful tomorrow. The fingerboard absorbs the incredibly salty musical tears, a phenomenal technique perfected over many years. Unplug the cord, silence the board, neck is warm, music is born. Sliding my calloused fingertips across the rosewood neck, keeping the heavy, emotional, musical tempo perfectly in check. I press the nickel wire deeply into the wooden fingerboard, creating a highly melancholy, undeniably tragic minor chord. The heavy gauge strings provide a remarkable amount of tension. Hoisting the massive canvas, mainsail up the wooden mast, preparing the enormous vessel for a journey incredibly vast. The pelagic winds fill the fabric with a highly powerful gust, leaving the safe harbor in a cloud of maritime salty dust. I stand confidently upon the starboard side of the deck, searching the endless blue horizon for a sunken pirate wreck. The albatross glides beautifully alongside our wooden hull, a highly spectacular nautical voyage that is never dull. Gripping the giant steering wheel with my calloused hands, navigating the coordinates toward undiscovered foreign lands. The compass points directly toward a highly treacherous reef, but the crew maintains a remarkably steadfast, brave belief. I adjust the rigging and carefully secure the thick rope, sailing forward with an enormous amount of adventurous hope. The maritime charts predict a highly favorable strong gale, providing the perfect momentum for this legendary tale. Riding the crest of a gigantic rolling swell, ringing the polished brass navigational bell. The buoyancy keeps the heavy galleon afloat, singing a lively shanty upon this mighty boat, dancing the highly energetic ocean skank, walking barefoot upon the wooden plank, a bouncing nautical rhythm on the open sea, the absolute pinnacle of maritime liberty, swinging joyfully with the pelagic motion, celebrating the vastness of the mighty ocean. A remarkably festive aquatic celebration, the greatest voyage in the entire nation. The barnacles cling stubbornly to the submerged underbelly, while the chef prepares a highly traditional maritime jelly. I drop the massive iron anchor into the turquoise deep, allowing the exhausted, hard-working sailors to finally sleep. The dolphins breach spectacularly across the starboard bow, a majestic aquatic performance happening right here and now. We swap the wooden deck until the timber perfectly gleams, fulfilling our wildest, most adventurous seafaring dream. Climbing the rope ladder entirely up to the tall crow's nest, putting my acrobatic maritime abilities to the ultimate test. I peer through the brass telescope to scout the distant shore, discovering a magnificent island entirely my smiling face, navigating the galleon into this beautifully secluded space. We secure the heavy moorings to the wooden harbor dock, arriving perfectly on time according to the captain's clock. Right in the crest of a gigantic rolling swell, ringing the polished brass navigational bell. The buoyancy keeps the heavy galleon afloat, singing a lively shanty upon this mighty boat. Dancing the highly energetic ocean skank, walking barefoot upon the wooden plank, a bouncing nautical rhythm on the open sea, the absolute pinnacle of maritime liberty. Swinging joyfully with the pelagic motion, celebrating the vastness of the mighty ocean, a remarkably festive aquatic celebration, the greatest voyage in the entire nation. Ocean skank, walking barefoot upon the wooden plank, a bouncy nautical rhythm on the open sea, the absolute pinnacle of maritime liberty. Swinging joyfully with the pelagic motion, celebrating the vastness of the mighty ocean, a remarkably festive aquatic celebration, the greatest voyage in the entire nation. Drop anchor, empty tanker, journey ends with my friends. Deep inside the subterranean, heavily vaulted brick cellar, resting silently beside the remarkably ancient wooden propeller. The distilled corn ash matures inside the heavy oak cask, a highly patient, biologically transformative, lengthy task. The fermentation process slowly alters the chemical composition, a highly respected, deeply historical distilling tradition. The temperature fluctuates slightly with the changing season, extracting the robust flavors for a highly specific reason.
The master distiller inspects the heavily charred wooden staves, where the sleeping liquid remarkably quietly behaves. The interior burning creates a highly caramelized sugary crust, a manufacturing technique that the distillery workers trust. The alcohol slowly breathes through the porous timber grain, a deeply complex, magnificent agricultural domain. We wait patiently for 12 entire uninterrupted years, while the magnificent amber-colored liquor finally appears. The angels take the atmospheric, evaporated share, leaving a highly concentrated, robust essence there. A botanical maturation happening completely in the dark, leaving an incredibly distinctive, flavorful mark. Pouring a heavy glass of this aged bourbon, a deeply intoxicating, magnificent rural sermon.
scented profile, making the lengthy waiting period incredibly worthwhile. Fermented gracefully inside the traditional charred barrel, singing a beautifully potent agricultural carol.
I pulled a heavy coke directly from the bottleneck opening, listening to the magnificent syrupy liquid quietly singing. The viscosity is incredibly thick, resembling molasses, as I distribute the vintage liquid into the waiting glasses. The aroma is incredibly potent, featuring the hint of peat, a remarkably satisfying, highly sophisticated adultery. The initial sip provides a significantly warm, soothing burn, a magnificent reward that we absolutely had to earn. The robust flavor profile aggressively coats my entire palate, striking my sensory perception like a heavy wooden mallet. I detect the subtle notes of toasted toffee and dark leather, a beverage designed explicitly for the coldest winter weather. The distillation apparatus performed its mechanical duty well, creating a highly magnificent, intoxicating amber spell. We swirl the heavy liquid gently against the crystal rim, while the illumination in the tasting room grows heavily dim. The angels take their atmospheric, evaporated share, leaving a highly concentrated, robust essence there. Botanical maturation happening completely in the dark, leaving an incredibly distinctive flavorful mark. Pouring a heavy glass of this aged bourbon, a deeply intoxicating, magnificent rural sermon. The dark amber liquid heavily coats the crystal tumbler, making the intoxicated consumer a terrible mumbler. Oh, deeply smoky, incredibly rich, vanilla-scented profile, making the lengthy waiting period incredibly worthwhile. Fermented gracefully inside the traditional charred barrel, singing a beautifully potent agricultural carol. The oak infuses the spirit with a highly magnificent grace, a beautiful maturation occurring in this subterranean place. Swallow the heavy vintage and feel the magnificent heat, a beautifully crafted, traditionally distilled rural feed. Pour cork, take the spout, rich liquid flowing out, swirl slow, feel the glow. Pouring a heavy glass of this aged bourbon, a deeply intoxicating, magnificent rural sermon. The dark amber liquid heavily coats the crystal tumbler, making the intoxicated consumer a terrible mumbler. A deeply smoky, incredibly rich, vanilla-scented profile, making the lengthy waiting period incredibly worthwhile. Fermented gracefully inside the traditional charred barrel, singing a beautifully potent agricultural carol. Deep inside the subterranean, heavily vaulted brick cellar, resting silently beside the remarkably ancient wooden propeller. The distilled core mash matures inside the heavy oak cask, a highly patient, biologically transformative, lengthy task. The fermentation
Purification process slowly alters the chemical composition. A highly respected, deeply historical. Flipping open the tiny circular silver compact mirror, trying to see my current cosmetic situation a little clearer. The vibrant carmine pigment has noticeably begun to wane, leaving an uneven, highly unattractive, waxy stain. I dab my mouth with a remarkably thin textured tissue, attempting to resolve this highly frustrating vanity issue. The glamorous crimson outline is severely blurred and messy, making my facial presentation look incredibly unimpressive.
I noticed the rosy smudge transferred directly onto my collar, a highly persistent residue that no amount of soap will alter. The waxy substance clings stubbornly to the woven fabric, a visible consequence of an interaction that was highly tragic. The glossy finish you applied earlier has entirely disappeared, exactly as my highly observant, cynical-minded feared. The cosmetic layer failed to withstand the evening's friction, exposing the underlying truth beneath the glamorous fiction. The rouge loses its highly saturated initial brightness, replaced by an overwhelming, remarkably dull whiteness. Wiping the color grease directly off the weary pout, the artificial confidence has completely run out. Wearing this remarkably faded lipstick, a highly deceptive superficial cosmetic trick. The vibrant pigment heavily diminishes and cracks, revealing exactly what our artificial presentation lacks. A smudged reminder of a highly glamorous facade, an aesthetic disguise that was fundamentally flawed. The waxy layer peels away from the sensitive skin, allowing the remarkably unpolished reality to begin. The matte foundation begins to heavily flake and separate as the late night hours continue to drastically escalate. I hand you a moistened towelette to cleanse your cheek. Your cosmetic barrier is looking incredibly, terribly weak. The rosy tint is heavily compromised by the perspiration, a highly unflattering, physically messy manifestation. You reapply the coloring, but the contour line is crooked, the most unkempt and disheveled that you have ever looked.
I twist the plastic tube to elevate the colored wax cylinder, feeling like a highly exhausted, unglamorous pretender. The shade is significantly lighter than the original application, a deeply disappointing, highly frustrating visual revelation.
My lip liner is entirely erased from the outer boundary.
I am trapped completely inside the superficial laundry. The glamorous aesthetic has been entirely compromised, exactly as the harsh bathroom fluorescent lights surmise. The rouge loses its highly saturated initial brightness, replaced by an overwhelming, remarkably dull whiteness. Wiping the color grease directly off the weary pout, the artificial confidence has completely run out. Oh, where peels away from the sensitive skin, allowing the remarkably unpolished reality to begin. To begin. Scrub the remaining pigment entirely away, accept the unvarnished reality of the day. The artificial coloring provides zero protection, just a highly superficial, waxy deflection. Twist up, apply gloss, smear down, total loss, wipe clean, facing. Wearing this remarkably faded lipstick, a highly deceptive superficial cosmetic trick. The vibrant pigment heavily diminishes and cracks, revealing exactly what our artificial presentation lacks. A smart reminder of a highly glamorous facade, an aesthetic disguise was fundamentally flawed. The waxy layer peels away from the sensitive skin, allowing the remarkably unpolished reality to begin. Close the case, wash the face, color gone, moving on. The celestial canopy above is a magnificent deep azure, a highly faceted astronomical gemstone that feels incredibly pure. I stare upwards at the glittering corundum-colored expanse, falling deeply into a highly sophisticated nocturnal trance.
The constellations resemble an intricate design diamond necklace, making all of our earthly trivial problems seem entirely reckless.
The atmosphere is painted in a profoundly rich cobalt dye, a brilliantly cut precious mineral dominating the entire sky.
I button my tailored midnight blue tuxedo jacket, leaving behind the chaotic noise in metropolitan racket.
The ocean reflects the exact same lapis lazuli tone as I stand upon the highly polished marble balcony alone.
The astronomical jewelry provides a highly expensive illumination, the most gorgeous thespic
visual presentation,
a wealthy, deeply saturated oceanic type of hue,
engulfing the entire perimeter in a majestic royal blue. The precious mineral shines with immense clarity, a nocturnal display of ultimate rarity,
polished to a highly reflective,
gorgeous sheen, the most valuable evening we have ever seen, basking in the glory of these sapphire nights, illuminated by the distant celestial lights.
a deeply colored,
Incredibly expensive gemstone, a majestic, beautifully saturated blue zone. The astronomical wealth is prominently displayed, a magnificent, brilliant cut twilight parade, staring into the deep oceanic faceted core, leaving us absolutely desperate for more.
The optical properties of the atmosphere are flawlessly aligned.
The greatest, most valuable treasure that humanity could ever find.
I adjust my silver cufflinks and admire the stellar view,
Surrounded completely by this incredibly wealthy royal blue.
the geological perfection of the heavens is
Undeniable, a highly consistent, astronomically reliable
display of unimaginable
cosmic luxury, a magnificent, deeply saturated nocturnal sophisticated, undeniably beautiful, astronomical rule. My velvet evening gown matches the sky perfectly, a completely intentional, highly fashionable aesthetic decree.
We observe the glittering panorama
From the penthouse suite, an incredibly exclusive, phenomenally beautiful retreat.
the ultimate pinnacle of atmospheric
Rich elegance, a highly valuable, deeply blue celestial presence. The precious mineral shines with immense clarity, a nocturnal display of ultimate rarity,
polished to a highly reflective,
gorgeous sheen, the most valuable evening we have ever seen. Basking in the glory of these sapphire nights, illuminated by the distant celestial lights.
a deeply colored,
Incredibly expensive gemstone, a majestic, beautifully saturated blue zone. The astronomical wealth is prominently displayed, a magnificent, brilliant cut twilight parade, staring into the deep oceanic faceted core, leaving us absolutely desperate for more. Sky glows rich, perfect heat pitch, deepest blues, just us two. Entering the lavishly decorated, incredibly opulent parlor, escaping entirely from the drab, monochromatic outdoor squalor.
the heavy
Drapery blocking the windows is a deep burgundy, creating an atmosphere of highly exclusive aesthetic urgency. I sink deeply into the incredibly plush, tufted upholstery, surrounded by an astonishing collection of scarlet tapestry.
the illumination is
Provided by a rosy, flattering chandelier, making every single patron look undeniably magnificent here.
my shoes sink entirely into the remarkably thick
Ruby carpet,
the most extravagantly designed interior
on the entire market.
a waitress balances a silver tray of brightly colored grenadine, the most highly saturated visual environment I've ever seen. I slide perfectly into the incredibly private circular leather booth, embracing this highly manufactured, deeply colorful truth. The wallpaper features a velvety dark cherry damask pattern, a profoundly luxurious sanctuary comparable to the
Rings of Saturn, immersed entirely in this cardinal hue, a completely flushed, magnificent view, basking in the profoundly rosy ambient glow, the most extravagant aesthetic we will ever know. Relaxing inside this magnificent crimson lounge, where the wealthy socialites consistently scrounge. Everything is painted a spectacular blood red, a highly luxurious canopy suspended overhead, a deeply saturated, incredibly opulent hideaway, where the glamorous residents permanently stay, drowning in the majestic
figment. The mahogany tables are polished to a highly reflective shine, while the patrons heavily consume their expensive vintage wine. I observe the incredibly rich ruby-tinted stained glass, watching the beautifully dressed, sophisticated clientele pass. The ambient temperature is remarkably warm and inviting, perfectly complementing the deeply atmospheric ruby lighting. A monochromatic masterpiece of absolute interior luxury, a phenomenally expensive, highly curated sanctuary. My fingernails perfectly match the velvet cushions of the chair, a highly coordinated, deeply meticulous aesthetic affair. The bartender wipes the counter with a scarlet-colored rag, while a patron retrieves a lipstick from her expensive bag. We are utterly enveloped by this warm, undeniably rich tone, feeling like royalty sitting directly upon a comfortable throne. The aesthetic consistency is remarkably strict and severe. Absolutely no contrasting colors are ever permitted here. Immersed entirely in this cardinal hue, completely flushed, magnificent view, basking in the profoundly rosy ambient glow, the most extravagant aesthetic we will ever know. Relaxing inside this magnificent crimson lounge, where the wealthy socialites consistently scrounge. Everything is painted a spectacular blood red, a highly luxurious canopy suspended overhead. A deeply saturated, incredibly opulent hideaway, where the glamorous residents permanently stay, drowning in the majestic, regal scarlet pigment, a beautifully crafted interior design figment. To the profoundly plush, saturated environment, the ultimate aesthetic form of luxurious retirement. Red velvet, deep sink, ruby glass, fancy drink, scarlet glow, moving slow. Relaxing inside magnificent crimson lounge, where the wealthy socialites consistently scrounge. Spectacular blood red, a highly luxurious canopy suspended overhead. A deeply saturated, incredibly opulent hideaway, where the glamorous residents permanently stay, drowning in the majestic, regal scarlet pigment, a beautifully crafted interior design figment. Lights dimming down, rich side of town, stay inside, nowhere to hide. Pursing my lips against the cold golden mouthpiece, hoping this subtle conversation will never cease. I exhale a delicately measured, remarkably gentle sigh, allowing the cylindrical tubing to softly multiply. The frequency of my incredibly intimate, unspoken thought, a covert auditory exchange that cannot be easily caught. The metallic alloy warms up from the friction of my breath,
beautifully hushed serenade right unto death.
Finger in the slick, lubricated valves with extreme precision, executing a highly calculated, incredibly quiet musical decision. I compress the airflow into a remarkably subtle low hum, waiting patiently for the gentle acoustic hum. The bell of the horn is entirely obstructed by a heavy mute, transforming the loud blare into something wonderfully astute. A secretive dialogue bypassing the human vocal cords, earning the most prestigious underground auditory awards. Keeping the dynamic volume incredibly restrained, a highly delicate melody that must be maintained, speaking through the shiny metallic plumbing, listening to the remarkably soft exchanging, these highly secretive brass whispers, covered language between two musical drifters. The golden horn murmurs a remarkably quiet phrase, navigating through this intimate auditory maze, blowing softly into the intricately coiled pipe, a deeply seductive, sophisticated musical type. No actual syllables are required for this chat, a purely instrumental discussion, just like that. I adjust the tune and slide by a mere millimeter, making the harmonic resonance incredibly sweeter. The saliva accumulates slowly inside the water key, the physical reality of this beautiful acoustic decree.
My diaphragm controls the incredibly slow release of air, a highly disciplined technique executed with utmost care.
We trade full-bar phrases in a highly conversational style,
maintaining this sultry muted interaction for a while.
The vibrato shakes
Gently at the very end of the note, a beautiful sentiment that nobody ever officially wrote.
I cup my left hand directly over the flared opening, controlling exactly how the metallic vibrations are ringing. A highly localized, incredibly private musical debate, occurring remarkably late upon this specific date. The trumpet effectively replaces the need for my tongue, the softest, most delicate jazz standard ever sung, keeping the dynamic volume incredibly restrained, a highly delicate melody that must be maintained, speaking through the shiny metallic plumbing, listening to the remarkably soft exchanging, these highly secretive brass whispers, a covered language between two musical drifters. The golden horn murmurs a remarkably quiet phrase, navigating through this intimate auditory maze, blowing softly into the intricately coiled pipe, a deeply seductive, sophisticated musical type. No actual syllables are required for this chat, a purely instrumental discussion, just like that. Just like that. The alloy vibrates with a remarkably soft, a beautiful demonstration of acoustic density. Let the metal communicate what the heart feels, a deeply resonant truth that the horn reveals. Breathe slow, keep it low, peep it low, press the valve, let it out, softest tongue all alone, exchanging these highly secretive brass whispers, a covered language between two musical drifters. The golden horn murmurs a remarkably quiet phrase, navigating through this intimate auditory maze, blowing softly into the intricately coiled pipe, a deeply seductive, sophisticated musical type. No actual syllables are required for this chat, a purely instrumental discussion.
massive pile of dirty laundry on the bed, discovering the exact evidence that I had always fiercely dread. A highly distinct, unfamiliar discoloration upon the neckline, proving that your weekend activities were completely out of line. The woven cotton fabric holds the undeniable dirty truth, exposing the secret infidelity of your reckless, foolish youth. I inspect the garment closely under the bright bedroom light, confirming my worst suspicions on this terrible, ruined night.
I desperately tried to formulate a believable, innocent excuse, while enduring this incredibly tense psychological abuse. Sweat forms heavily upon my highly panicked, guilty brow. I cannot talk my way out of this disastrous situation now. The button-down shirt was supposed to be thoroughly washed, but my deceptive, terrible plan has been entirely quashed. I stare completely silently at the patterned bedroom rug, feeling like a highly exposed, thoroughly cornered, helpless bug.
No amount of strong detergent can bleach the guilt, destroying the fragile trust we carefully built. The undeniable proof is woven into the thread, a catastrophic revelation filling us with dread. Confronting the reality of the stained collar, not worth a single pathetic counterfeit dollar. A visible mark of absolute devastating betrayal, where every single deceptive explanation will fail. The neckline carries a highly foreign, strange perfume, suffocating the oxygen right out of the living room. A permanent blemish upon the pristine white cloth, destroying the relationship like a fabric-eating moth.
I unbutton the cuffs with incredibly trembling, shaking hands, unable to meet your highly righteous, furious demands. The washing machine spins loudly in the adjacent utility hall, while my entire deceptive empire begins to completely fall. I offer a pathetic apology that sounds incredibly insincere, understanding that the end of our partnership is entirely near. The visual evidence is far too overwhelming to ever deny. I'm caught completely inside my own terrible, selfish lie. I toss the ruined garment directly into the metal trash bin, refusing to accept the consequences of your terrible sin. The laundry basket overflows with the remnants of your deceit. A highly devastating, incredibly painful romantic defeat. I demand that you pack your belongings and quickly depart, taking your terribly flawed, untrustworthy, deceptive heart. The discoloration remains a highly permanent, ugly scar, showing exactly how incredibly wicked you truly are. No amounts of strong detergent can bleach the guilt, destroying the fragile trust we carefully built. The undeniable proof is woven into the thread, a catastrophic revelation filling us with dread. Confronting the reality of the stained collar, not worth a single pathetic counterfeit dollar. A visible mark of absolute devastating betrayal, where every single deceptive explanation will fail. The neckline carries a highly foreign, strange perfume, suffocating the oxygen right out of the living room. A permanent blemish upon the pristine white cloth, destroying the relationship like a fabric-eating moth. Catastrophe that leaves us deeply worn. Scrub hard, so deep,
lies told,
now we
rinse out,
loud shout.
Loud shout. Confronting the reality of the stained car, not worth a single pathetic counterfeit dollar. close the door, nevermore. Throw it out. The celestial canopy above is a magnificent deep azure, a highly faceted astronomical gemstone that feels incredibly pure. I stare upwards at the glittering corundum-colored expanse, falling deeply into a highly sophisticated nocturnal trance. The constellations resemble an intricately designed diamond necklace, making all of our earthly trivial problems seem entirely reckless. The atmosphere is painted in a profoundly rich cobalt dye, a brilliantly cut precious mineral dominating the entire sky.
I bought my tailored midnight blue tuxedo jacket, leaving behind the chaotic, noisy
metropolitan racket.
The ocean reflects the exact same lapis lazuli tone as I stand upon the highly polished marble balcony alone. The astronomical jewelry provides a highly expensive illumination, the most gorgeous atmospheric visual presentation, a wealthy, deeply saturated oceanic type of hue, engulfing the entire perimeter in a majestic royal blue. The precious mineral shines with immense clarity, a nocturnal display of ultimate rarity, polished to a highly reflective, gorgeous sheen, the most valuable evening we have ever seen. Basking in the glory of the sapphire nights, illuminated by the distant celestial lights, a deeply colored, incredibly expensive gemstone, a majestic, beautifully saturated blue zone. The astronomical wealth is prominently displayed, a magnificent, brilliant cut twilight parade, staring into the deep oceanic faceted core, leaving us absolutely desperate for more. The optical properties of the atmosphere are flawlessly aligned, the greatest, most valuable treasure that humanity could ever find. I adjust my silver cufflinks and admire the stellar view, surrounded completely by this incredibly wealthy royal blue.
The geological perfection of the heavens is undeniable, a highly consistent, astronomically reliable display of unimaginable cosmic luxury, a magnificent, deeply saturated nocturnal sanctuary. The moonlight catches the facets of the atmospheric jewel, a highly sophisticated, undeniably beautiful astronomical rule.
My velvet evening gown matches the sky perfectly,
a completely intentional, highly fashionable aesthetic decree.
We observe the glittering
panorama from the penthouse suite, an incredibly exclusive, phenomenally beautiful retreat, the ultimate pinnacle of atmospheric, rich elegance, a highly valuable, deeply blue, celestial presence. The precious mineral shines with immense clarity, a nocturnal display of ultimate rarity, polished to a highly reflective, gorgeous sheen, the most valuable evening we have ever seen. Basking in the glory of these sapphire nights, illuminated by the distant celestial lights, a deeply colored, incredibly expensive gemstone, a majestic, beautifully saturated blue zone. The astronomical wealth is prominently displayed, a magnificent, brilliant cut twilight parade, staring into the deep, oceanic, faceted core, leaving us absolutely desperate for more. The mineral hardness of the sky protects the earth below, a highly valuable, brilliantly faceted cosmic show. Extract the beauty from the very depth of the blue mind, watching the entire majestic galaxy beautifully shine. Deep blue, royal hue, precious stone, we are alone. Look up high, wealthy sky. I basking in the glory of these sapphire nights, illuminated by the distant celestial lights, a deeply colored, incredibly expensive gemstone, a majestic, beautifully saturated blue zone. The astronomical wealth is prominently displayed, a magnificent, brilliant cut twilight parade, staring into the deep, oceanic, faceted core, leaving us absolutely desperate for more. Sky glows rich, perfect pitch, deepest blue, just